Hi, Aaron Kirkwood, marriage and family therapist with Counseling Associates for Wellbeing in Athens, Georgia. Today I wanted to talk to you about mental health, as May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, when I say the words mental health, what do you think of? I would imagine for the majority of people, at least in the United States, when we say mental health, what we really mean is mental illness. We're thinking about people who might be suffering from anxiety or depression or some more severe mental illness. And truth be told, we all have elements of those things within us, right? We all have the capacity for depression, anxiety, even OCD type behaviors, right? You may keep all of your CD cases lined up just such a way. That's an OCD type behavior. That doesn't mean that you have OCD. But what can we do to be mentally healthy? That's what I'd like to talk about today. You know, whether or not you are someone who feels that you are mentally healthy and doesn't have a mental illness, or you're someone who does have a mental illness, odds are these things can apply. So what are some of the things that you can do? They're fairly basic, honestly. Eating a good diet affects mental health. Thinking, it's going to sound almost silly, but thinking positive thoughts, right? Our brain in many ways is like a muscle, okay? The more that we do a certain activity with our brain, the easier it is for us to do that activity, okay? So if I always think negative thoughts, then it's much easier to access that part of my brain and think negative thoughts. So if, sort of like a mental exercise, I practice, thinking positively, in general terms, but especially about myself, that's helpful to mental health. Journaling is a good way to, a lot of people like to journal, but if you can, within that, incorporate purposefully finding positive things about the world and about yourself, that can be helpful. Mindfulness in general and meditation are extremely helpful for mental health. Again, it's similarly, right? Your brain is made up of all these tiny connections. And what meditation does is it helps strengthen the connections which allow you to control your what you pay attention to, essentially. You may or may not be able to control your thoughts, right? Like you may say, man, I get angry often. You may not be able to stop yourself from having those angry thoughts necessarily, but what you might be able to do through the practice of meditation and mindfulness on a regular basis is you may be able to sort of notice those anger. You may be able to notice when you are becoming angry or those angry thoughts, and just accept them and kind of put them away and go on about your day. One of the best things that we can do is getting a good night's sleep. And that may mean different things for different people, but it's about 6 to 8 hours. That's oftentimes, there's a lot of current research into sleep, and one of the things that seems to be consistent is that getting a good night's sleep regularly contributes to both our physical and our mental health. Now, what if you can't sleep well because, maybe your brain won't shut off? That's again where meditation can help. There are meditation recordings and applications that you can use specifically for insomnia and sleep, and so you might try Googling, looking up what those might be, and that can help as well. So eating well, taking some time to think positively, practicing meditation, getting a good night's sleep, and maybe being out in nature. That's another thing that seems to help people, and in our modern society, in our modern world, I think people do that far less than we would have, say, 100 years ago, unless you're someone who has made an effort to live in contact with nature. That's something that may be missing for a lot of us. So these are just some ideas. There are lots more out there, but in the pursuit of mental health, these are some ideas that you might want to try. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'll leave some contact information. Thanks for watching, and hope you'll be back. Take care.